Hello, everybody. This is Todd. It's Thursday, October the something. I think it's 28th. Still at home with my back injury. Going for an MRI soon. Waiting on the doctor's office to call me back to schedule that, and so we'll see how much damage is done to my back. All right. So meanwhile, I'm losing my mind going here, staying at home all the time, and been doing a lot of painting, working on old Christmas painting right now, and did something very weird yesterday. I'll show it another time, maybe. You know what? I'll show it to you now because it's kind of ridiculous, but I was in a weird mood. Okay, so I did this. Let me turn around. See this? Awesome. I mean, if you can make any sense out of that, let me know. All right, because I'm probably not going to keep it because it's just beyond stupid. But I was kind of in a sort of a dreamlike stance. So I said, hey, you know what? Let's do some surrealism. Let's do another Salvador Dali. Really enhancing my art skills since I've been injured. So anyway, that's just the preliminaries. Again, you don't have to watch me. You can just put this phone down and listen because all I do is talk. And I've noticed a lot of channels that I subscribe to on YouTube, they got people doing a lot of talking, but they're also doing something interesting. And I'm not. I mean, I don't feel confident enough with my painting skills to sit here and do a video where I paint something and then talk. I mean, it requires all my concentration to do that. Maybe if I get better at it, but we'll see. Anyway, I've been watching this channel lately. I'll try to link it if I can figure out how to do that. If not, I'll just tell you what it is. You can go find it yourself. There's this guy whose name is Eric, and he is from Norway. Okay, I have fallen in love with the Scandinavian countries like Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Denmark. All those places are cool to me because, as an introverted personality, I really enjoy sparsely populated areas. I like cold weather. I like snow. I like wind and rain. Those are the kind of things that makes me happy. I don't like hot weather. I don't like sunny weather. I mean, not too much sun. I like some sun, but I don't want it hot and dry, humid, sunny all the time. It makes me crazy. It's boring to me, and you can't escape it. So that's just the way my body chemistry is. I like colder, darker climates. Just, I don't know why. Like Scotland, places like that, I could totally dig because it's to my liking. Anyway, I've been watching this guy. I've been into sailing lately. I've always wanted to learn how to sail. I got a friend of mine in Charlotte who said he would help me or teach me how, but I live 2.5 hours from Charlotte, so it's hard to make plans to do that. And especially with my back injury, I really can't. But I've been watching a lot of videos of men sailing and women sailing. And one thing I've learned from watching is this guy, he did a trip from like Norway to the Faroe Islands or to Shetland Island, the Faroe Islands, and he was going to go to Greenland, but he couldn't because it was too much ice. So he decided to go south to Iceland instead. Now, along the way, he's got cameras everywhere, and along the way, he's encountering really choppy seas, violent squalls and storms. And this guy's acting like it's no big deal. He's been on the ocean his whole life. He was a commercial diver on ships, so he's comfortable with the water. But the North Atlantic is brutal. I mean, just watching these videos, I'm like terrified because there's 15, 20 foot storm surge, and he's just up and down on these on these waves with his 30-foot sailboat. And when it gets dark, he goes inside. He sets the boat on autopilot. He goes into the cabin, takes a nap. I mean, if I'm on a ocean and it's storming outside, I don't know how I could sleep if I'm the only one on board. I mean, that just freaks me out. But I admire it. And one thing I started learning or just realizing is the fact that our culture, here's my segue into our depraved society. Our society, I came up in a time when there were still real men and real women around, okay? And I know they're still here, but they're few and far between. Everything's so fluid these days, they like to say. But when I was a kid in the 70s, early 80s, men were men, women were women, and they knew it. There was nobody saying, I just feel like I know I got this cock and balls, but today I just feel like I'm a woman. I'm gonna put on lipstick and some girl panties, walk into the bathroom and take a piss. That never even occurred to anybody until a few years ago. But that our American society because I'm trying to stay on a straight line here. I want to veer off so badly. Here's the thing. I've had to over the last couple of well, over the last couple of years, I've had to realize that everything I ever thought I knew about the United States of America has probably been a lie, um, in one way or the other, because there's so many things that I could go into. It would take hours to explain it all. But let's suffice to say that nothing is what it seems, nothing is as it appears, and everything is a big freaking lie. Okay? It's just, if you want to call me up and talk about it, we'll talk about it on the side. But it would take too long, and no one wants to listen to me talk for hours. So we can all agree on that. So anyway, that's just the bottom line. And one thing that has happened since, like I said, my grandparents' generation fought World War II. Okay, my parents, both my mom and dad, came from the western side of North Carolina and Virginia. So they came from, I love the western part of the North Carolina. It's mountainous out there, and people are more real. But they grew up in a way that they were just God-fearing, good people. They worked hard, and they didn't mind these liberal ideologies, and that was just that. They hated hippies, and it's just the way it was. You know the type. But as time has gone on, you see especially these young boys becoming softer and softer. And I'm getting back to the whole story of Eric the Viking in a second, but I'm trying to tie this thing in. So, what you got right now is a whole generation of very soft boys and very powerful girls, and I mean that term any way you want to take it. Okay, and we've empowered females over males, and that's an imbalance. I'm all about empowering females. I think there's women and men are equally, or we're created equal by the same God. It doesn't mean one's better than the other, but one is better than the other in some cases, and vice versa. Women can have babies. Women can nurse babies. Women can withstand a lot more pain than men can. Women get sick, and they just carry right on with life. Whereas men, we get sick or we get hurt, and we're useless. And I am number one at that, because ever since I've hurt my back, I've been pretty freaking useless. I mean, the pain was unbearable for the first 2.5 weeks. Could barely walk, and Jennifer had to do almost everything. She had to go to work every day, and then come home and take care of me, because I can't hardly do anything. So that's just, I'm sitting in a swivel chair, by the way, if you see that. That's what I mean by women and men were created equally, but they're different strengths and different weaknesses. It's like the yin and yang symbol from like Taoism, the black and white, that whole thing, that symbol. It's almost like they fit together. They're different, but they work together cohesively. That's why Jennifer and I have a great marriage, because we both recognize that she knows her role, I know my role, and they work together very, very well. She's a planner, I'm a dreamer. Together, that works pretty well. So that's how it was intended to be by God, by nature, whatever you want to call it. I'm not trying to do a theology thing here, but you can't deny reality. But we have denied reality. And since I came up in that nomad generation from the late 60s to the mid 80s, I've seen the society unraveling, because, like I said, I grew up with people who were tough, who knew who they were, who knew their role, and that was that. And now everything's blurred. Now you got boys wanting to be girls, girls want to be boys. They're gender fluid. That's whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. I guess that means they can change where they want to whenever they feel like it. And I don't get it at all. I really don't. But I mean, that's their thing. But you look at our society as a whole, the successes of previous generations has brought us to the point where we've had it made. We haven't had any big major crises in our life. Every crisis in the last 50 years has been manufactured. Regardless of what you think or what you believe, you need to let go of the belief system you've had as far as what you think you know is in relation to the way this country is, because it's all been a big fat juicy lie. Okay, everything's been a lie. Everything you think was organic or just happened was probably set up by some three-letter agency or someone affiliated with a three-letter agency, and that's just the way it is. If you don't like it, I'm really sorry. You don't have to believe me, but you can't. Well, you can deny reality all you want to, but it doesn't change the fact that it's true. And you can see as time goes on how our society is devolving as we speak. Is it by design? Absolutely, it's by design. There's two. There's a dark faction. There's a light faction, and whichever one wins will be either great or not so great. So that's just where we're at. Okay, we're in that crisis mode. That's what led up to World War II, and here we are, 80 some years later. We're right on time for another crisis. Okay, if you look back at the previous generations and from the time this country was founded to where we're at now, you can see between every 70 to 80 years, give or take, there's always a crisis, and there's a rebuilding mode, and then there's after the building mode, there's this freedom of artistic expression, and then the cycle starts all over again. And we're in that crisis mode. We have been since 2008. Okay, when the stock market crashed, we're in it. Here we are, 2020. We're right in the dead center of this crisis. You can see it coming every single day. Okay, how's it going to end? I know that God wins in the end, but I don't know how it's going to play out. We'll have to watch and see what happens. But it's not looking too good for us because we have a generation of so-called men, 18 to their mid 40s, who, for lack of a better word, are just pussies. You know, I mean, you can always pull out certain individuals who are not. They're the exception. But the vast, overwhelming majority of males in this country under the age of 40, all they want to do is dumb stuff that's just pointless. They want to play video games all day. They want to escape reality and play video games. They want to watch LeBron play basketball. They want to watch some stupid football game that's not going to do anything for them at all. They want to do things that are just pointless, but they feed their wants and their desires, not their needs, okay, or other people's needs. They spend all day long on these phones. They spend all day long on iPads. They spend all day long squatting their trucks and doing dumb shit like that. And it's just pointless and being shiftless, lazy, good-for-nothing losers because they've had it made for so long. They've had parents, my generation, coddling these stupid kids and telling them how special they are and how precious they are. And the reason we did that is because in the let's say early 80s, both our parents had to go to work to pay for all this shit because we got off the gold standard in 1971, adopted the central bank's fiat currency, which is nothing more than a private company lending money to the government and getting a return on investment for it. So then government passes it all to us, and we wind up prices go up. Everything goes up, inflation kicks in, and we have to work harder and harder and harder to keep paying for stuff. But it's not a problem because we've got credit now. We can get a credit card easy, and we can buy it now, pay for it later. Well, that sounds fantastic until you look at the back of these invoices that come from all your catalogs. I mean, all your credit card company says interest rates are anywhere between 15 and 30-some%. You're never going to pay that credit card off. But it's okay because you only have to pay $30 a month, and you can go out and buy whatever it is that makes you happy, a new television and a new car, whatever it is, because everything's on credit. These days, no one pays cash for anything, especially as it relates to cars. And that's why all your recreational vehicles, those little slingshot cars that are pretty cool looking, boats of all kinds, your bass boats, your pontoon boats, your sailboats, all these boats are outrageously expensive. Cars are outrageously expensive because of inflation, because our dollar is worth less now than it used to be. But we keep buying this stuff because we've forgotten what it's like to use sound financial principles. We just want it now. So we go out and we get it's only $200 extra a month. I can afford that. Well, then next thing you know, you got a boat that you're paying $200 a month for 60 months. You've got a couple cars with car payments on it. You got a mortgage on your house. Then you want, so I think I need a four-wheeler. So I'm going to go buy a quad four-wheeler, and that's only $85 a month. I can afford that, but that's for 60 months too. Next thing you know, your ass is in debt up to your eyeballs, not to mention the credit cards you got. But we keep going on vacation every single year because we just need a break from work, but we don't have the money because we're paying out thousands of dollars a month on useless crap. But we need that vacation, so we got a good deal on this rental down there at the beach, and that's going to be only $4,500. Well, I can afford that. I got that on my credit card. See what I mean? It's the same thing, and you're in debt, and you work jobs you don't like, and you don't make budgets, and you don't save money. All you're doing is spend, 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 because over the last 50 years, we've all been geared and trained subliminally to do that. And that's why where our society has fallen apart because we're too busy working. We're a big freaking farm. We're like free-range chickens. We think we have freedom, and we do have some. We have enough freedom as they will allow us to be productive for the farmers or the ranchers. Okay, so just picture the United States of America being one big gigantic ranch of free-range chickens and cattle. Okay, and we think, oh, I can go out in my yard and cut grass. I can do whatever I want to do because I'm free man. I can go get a new job I want to. Yeah, but you're only going to make so much money. They're going to tax the living crap out of you. Your 401k money is going to be taxed also. And anything else extra you bring in, bonuses, overtime work, tax. Okay? The taxation is actually unconstitutional anyway. But we don't know that because we're always told, only two things certain in life, death and taxes. And pretty much it's right, but it didn't have to be that way, but we don't know enough. That's why we've been lied to for so many years. We're uneducated. Even what's ironic is we think we are educated. And people keep going to these ridiculous colleges and spending Google's amount of money for a degree that's not really worth that a whole lot, but you think you're educated. But what you are is indoctrinated. You're not really learning a lot of stuff. You're being told things that are true that are not true. Like, pick any certain topic you want to talk about, and I guarantee you it's probably a lie or the facts have been massaged a little bit. So we have a society in decline because we don't have real men, real women anymore. Go back to what I was talking about earlier, Eric the Viking, the Norwegian guy who likes to sail on ocean blue. This guy's a real man. He's a man's man, okay? He'd get out there in the morning after he slept all night long in 8-10 foot waves, beating the crap out of his boat, gets him a cup of coffee and a cigarette, and says, "That's a great morning to be alive." And he'll turn his sailboat toward Iceland and pull up in port somewhere, and everybody's glad to see him. I mean, the dude's got tattoos all over his body. He's just the kind of guy I want to be friends with, okay? We got me thinking, a lot of these countries in Europe that we've taken for granted as being a bunch of sissy liberals, well, I mean, it's just like in America, there's certain cities, like Paris, like Brussels, like Berlin, all these big cities in Europe are full of the same kind of assholes we have over here. Same kind of democratic leftist pussies who want to control your life and look down their nose at you because, oh, you're just a blue collar worker. You're just a loser. And what's interesting is I learned last night in Norway, I think they're the most educated country in Europe. A lot of people have master's degrees, but you know what? Not many of them they don't have any skilled labor. All of them work for these big tech firms and things that already requires is a 4-year degree in how to punch numbers on a keyboard. They don't know how to build things. They don't know how to, they don't have any skilled labor, which is ironic. You got a whole country full of people with master's degrees and bachelor's degrees, but yet they have very, I'm not saying none, they have very little skilled labor as far as it relates to like all the migrants coming up from the South. They're ignorant as hell and being lied to, but yet they're here to work and put sheetrock in your house, and make you a new driveway. So countries like Norway, Sweden, Finland, places like that could benefit from the same thing that America could benefit from, whereas boys, quit being little pussies and get off your freaking YouTube channels when you think you're going to make money playing video games so people can watch you, and go to a trade school and learn how to be a carpenter, learn electrical work, learn plumbing, learn all this stuff that you think is beneath you because you somehow think you're going to get a great job working for some tech firm and you can sit in Starbucks all day long, sip lattes, and punch numbers on a keyboard. That's garbage, man. I mean, I know people do that, but in the long run, it's not going to get you anywhere because when the next crash comes, which, getting back to what I said about the 50-year fiat currency system that we're under, it's long overdue to crash. They keep pumping paper money into the system trying to save it. Meanwhile, they're trying to reset everything, which is why you're having a supply chain issue crisis. It's a manufactured crisis. It's not a real crisis. It's manufactured, okay? We got hundreds and hundreds of ships sitting off coasts, and they can't dock because why? I can go into a different subject too. But we're getting ready to separate the wheat from the chaff because it won't be long before people start realizing there's a shortage of things. And all these little pussy boys, soy boys, and their little butch girlfriends run around talking about social justice will not have anything to eat because they hadn't prepared for it. And they're outraged all the time because they want to, this manufactured crisis about racism, again, which is non-existent. It's stupid. But you tell somebody that who believes that shit and they lose their ever-loving minds because they have been programmed by school, by their friends, by the TV, whatever else, to believe bullshit that's not true. Okay? They don't say we're not diverse enough. This is the most diverse country in the entire world. I've been to a lot of countries in the world, and a lot of people look just the same overseas. You come over here, and it's a mixture of all kind of shit. Okay, and that's what kills countries is multiculturalism. It destroys the fabric of what made that country what it was to begin with. All right, because the majority of whatever race you want to call it in a country becomes a minority when all these other cultures gang together. Okay, so in America, what multiculturalism means is everything except for European Caucasians. Everything except that. We're not going to celebrate White History Month. We're not going to celebrate great white athletes. We're not going to do that because that's racism. Okay, so that's what gets in your head and plays with you. But we can have all these other minority months or whatever you want to call it. And I realize I'm all across the board here, but it all ties together. And what I was really trying to get at was the fact that we've lost our way in this country, which is a profound statement. It's also very obvious. And that's kind of why I've kind of cut myself off from society, really. I don't trust any agency. I don't trust any news company, no media. I don't trust them. I don't even trust people that I agree with politically because I think they're snakes too. Okay, I mean, I just don't trust anything or anybody anymore unless I have a feeling of peace about it in my gut. Other than that, I mean, I'm not. They're all in on it. They're all in on this whole racket of. How do I say it without getting in trouble by YouTube? For years, I was called a conspiracy theorist. I'm just a nut job. I'm crazy because of this bullshit, this 9/11 thing, whatever, and I'm okay with that. But when theories cease becoming theories and become probabilities or even facts, I am no longer a conspiracy theorist. I am a conspiracy therapist because people come to me, hey man, do you know why this? Yeah, I know why this. I knew this 5 years ago. This whole pandemic thing. I said, yeah, I know. It was talked about 5 years ago, even more. It's been talked about for years and years. But people dismiss things like that because it sounds too outrageous for them because we lived in a relative security of this country for a long time. Ever since the end of World War II, we have lived in comfort and security and safety because of the sacrifices of that generation that went out and kicked Germany's ass. Okay? But what we didn't know was shortly after World War II, all these Nazi scientists and all these people, they came to America. A lot of them did and got jobs inside the government. And that's why we're having the problem now. We never actually we might have defeated Germany in battle, but we didn't defeat the ideology. It stayed there. It moved. It crept in slowly. All these things are so obvious now when you know the history and you put on your thinking cap and let go of your whole emotionalism, because emotionalism is the absence of logic. You can't get anywhere feeling things. You have to know things. You have to think critically, and you have to be willing to put aside what you think you believe and the comfort of that for what's really going on. Okay? So when I sit there and say this event was planned and carried out, don't go losing your mind because people died. They always say, you can't say that people died. Like, people die every single day. We don't lose our minds over a car crash. Okay, but if 3,000 some odd people get killed in buildings, then somehow we can't talk about that because people died. And it's all horseshit. It's designed. Here's the thing. The people who are programming you through the television, they know psychology way better than you. They know what you're going to do. They know what you're going to say. They know how you're going to feel. All they got to do is make you feel emotional about something. And when a bunch of kids get shot all up in a school, they start putting these little profiles on and dragging their parents out. Well, little Miss Bonnie just loves that school so much. And she said, Mommy, don't make me stay home. I want to go to school and learn so I can be a teacher one day. And she has a little tear coming down her eyes. And people say, oh my God. And that child becomes their child. If you sit there and say, hey, that event didn't happen the way you think it happened, they go absolutely freaking crazy because they were programmed from the very beginning to believe something that's not true. But they can direct it. They can direct the news footage so well and use crisis actors that you believe it's real. and you don't ever want to not believe it because it's just an emotional thing in your heart. Those kids, those dead children, got stuck in your heart. Now they're your kids, and you will not allow someone to insult the memory of those poor, precious, dead children because you say it's fake or it didn't happen the way it did. I'm so sorry. Sorry to bust your little bubble, but yeah, these kind of things are manufactured, okay? The reason that we had so many mass shootings back during the Obama years was because they're trying to get our guns away from us, like Australia did. And look what's happened in Australia. They're basically the whole country, the whole continent of Australia is one big fat prison camp right now. Why? Because they had mass shootings and all the Australians, oh my God, we got to get rid of guns. And they got rid of their guns, and guess what? The people in the government who have guns and power are now telling the citizens who gave up their guns for peace, they're telling them what to do, and they can't leave their house. They have to wear the little thing over their face and get forced, medicines and that kind of shit. So all you got to do is use a critical eye and quit watching television. Quit it. There's not one single thing on that television that you need to watch. There's no sport that's important. There's no golf tournament that's important. There's no news broadcast that's accurate. They're all fake. I don't care which one you're talking about. Every single one of them are fake, or at least very misleading. Okay, they can keep in mind the CIA runs most of those channels, and the ones you think are conservative are controlled opposition. It's just like professional wrestling; they're all buddies behind the curtain. Okay, so I didn't mean to get down that road, but it comes to me, and I got to say something. I'm kind of angry because I don't like it when I see people. Well, I mean, I do like it when I see people waking up and seeing things that I've known for years and years. It kind of pisses me off at the same time because I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I am not the most knowledgeable. I'm not the most well educated. I'm just got a lot of common sense, and I have this ability to feel things and know if something's right or wrong. I get good discernment. Plus, I don't take anything at face value. I look at all the. How are you trying to screw me? People call that paranoia. I call it this being prudent. Okay. I don't trust the government in any capacity. I think it's a circus. I think it's a sham. I think everything we're seeing is a movie being played out. Nothing that you see right now, I believe, is real. It's my personal opinion. I don't think it's real. I think it's all smoke and mirrors, Hollywood productions. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on that we will not know about for a long time, maybe ever. But if the good guys win, we'll all breathe a collective sigh of relief. If not, we'll have to fight back some kind of way. Don't know. I'm not going to go up. I'm not going to go out peacefully. But anyway, what was my original point? Oh, yeah, Eric the Viking. Need to check this guy's channel. I think his name is Eric on something I forget. It starts with an A. I'll try to find his channel and link it to this video if I can figure out how to do that shit. But anyway, my leg's starting to hurt me a little bit. I'm going to go take a few pain pills and start working on this painting again. But I thought I would pop in here and do my thing. So anyway, I want to stop now and have a great day. Maybe I'll do another Bible study soon. Unless you godless heathens don't like that. And if you don't, then I'll just do a Bible study on godless heathens, okay? Because we're in that season, man, where you need to believe what you believe and live it, because things are crazy. All right, I mean, don't wait till the last minute when I don't think anything pisses God off more than when people go off and live their own little lives, and then when things get bad, they come running right back. Oh my God, we gotta get in church and we gotta get saved. You should be doing that all along. And nobody's gonna live a perfect life, but you don't need to be living like in arrogance. And one thing God hates more than anything else is pride and arrogance. I've learned that the hard way because I got humbled big time. Anywho, I'm not going to go off on another tangent. I'm going to cut this thing off. I'm almost at the 30-minute mark, and that is my personal cue to get the hell off here. So have a great day.